Okay, so I currently use two different tools for when I do my retightenings. I use a latch hook and I use a lock loop is what I call it. So this first clip I did a slow-mo so you could see how I use the latch hook. I do use a 4-point rotation. So first I put the hook in, going from right to left, and then I go from top to bottom, and then on the opposite side I'll go from left to right, and then I'll go from bottom to top. Or vice versa for those. I tried recording something like this before, but it didn't necessarily go too well. Generally this process will take, this time it took me like several days to get through. If I'm not doing anything, I can finish it in one day, so about 8 to 12 hours by myself. But if I am busy that week, sometimes I'll spread it out and I won't get it done for several days, or I'll just take the whole week to do it. Okay, so I sped this up by like 4 times. This isn't remotely close to my actual speed. It's much slower. Also, I was watching TV at the time, so it may have been even because I take breaks periodically so that I can enjoy whatever the program is I'm watching while I'm doing my retightenings. This does also give me a chance to show you my scalp. In a previous video, I'll try to leave a link. I had picked up some sulfurate oil. It was liquid, and it was one of their products that I hadn't tried before. Usually I get the thick kind of oil that you use. It comes in like a yellow bottle or like small container, and I'll put that on my scalp periodically. Now I'm using a lighter oil. It's liquefied, so I can just spray it, put it in my water bottle and spray it once or twice a week with another oil that I really enjoy. So you can kind of see where I do still have some dandruff, but my scalp looks pretty clean. And was this after a wash? No, this was right before a wash. So it had been about 2 weeks at this point since my last wash, and it's usually much worse than this when it comes to flaking. So I am satisfied with the with the sulfurate oil. I am going to try to put a video up of all of the oils that I use on my, not oils specifically, but all of the products that I use on my hair, or that I used on my hair throughout the year, last year. Some of them I'll continue to use, others I probably won't. So I use the latch hook because I like that I can grab the stray hairs better. Like, obviously I can't see the back of my head, but it does make me feel like I'm more in control of the hair that I am pulling into my lock, when it feels like those hairs are stray and not like in the lock that they are supposed to be in. You can kind of see me do that there, where I'm like feeling around the lock and wrapping the hair a little bit, and then using the latch hook to pull the rest of it through so that it's secure. I do think that I get cleaner parts with the latch hook than I do with the lock loop. Also, I think that I'm in more control of the tension on my scalp when I use the latch hook as opposed to the lock loop, and I'm not really sure how to explain that right now, but you might be able to see the difference once I start using the lock loop instead. Sometimes I will do a 3-point rotation instead of a 4-point rotation, depending on how that particular lock feels, especially if it's a really thin lock. I'll start off with 4-point, and then by the time I finish my last rotation, it'll end up being 3-point. So it kind of just depends on how I feel, but I don't always use a 4-point. I don't like about the latch hook is that I have to kind of pull my arm around the front of my body in order to get through each rotation. So what you can see here is me sectioning off that half of my head. Obviously this is a completely different day, but you can see how the parting is still really clean. And this is 48, I don't know, 3 or 4 days later at least. Okay, so right here I'm trying to give you a better view, and you can kind of see the part of that loop that bulges out, and that's the part of the loop that can make it difficult for me to get through all of my rotations or to control the tension when I'm completing, when I'm using the tool. Okay, so that bulge on the tool, like sometimes it's just difficult to pull it all the way through. And if I'm having one of my tenderhead moments, I will just give up and not pull the tool all the way through, even though I know there's another rotation that I can complete. And so that's one of my pet peeves about using the Loc Loop instead of the Latch Hook, is that I don't always feel like I'm in as much control of the tension or completing all of the rotations that I can for the new growth for each lock. But one of the positives is that even though I can't necessarily grab the hairs the same way I can with the Latch Hook, I don't have to wrap my arm around my head the way I did with the Latch Hook sometimes in order to get to the next rotation in order. The Latch Loop, the Loc Loop is easier to manipulate, but as you just saw there, it is also easier for me to catch another lock and tie a knot that I then have to fix and then start over. That doesn't happen nearly as much when I'm using the Latch Hook as it does when I'm using the Loc Loop. Okay, so right here I'm going to slow it down a little bit so that you can see how I use the Loc Loop. Okay, I said it right this time. First I start with the new growth, and you saw me kind of twisting it down, and then I work my way down the lock, and then I put the end of the lock through the loop, and then I put the Loc Loop tool through the bottom and I pull up, and then I do it on the right side and pull that all the way through, and then I do it at the top and I pull that all the way through, and then I do it on the opposite side. And see, with the Latch Hook, I will ordinarily have to go around my head in the front to do this, but with the loop I don't have to do that. I can just kind of go around my hand instead, and so it's more convenient. The inconvenient part, or maybe not inconvenient, but the part of it that can be I guess disrupt the integrity of your lock some, is that you don't always know if you're going through the middle of the lock. And that's also the case with the Latch Hook, is you're using your hands to feel it, so you can't really tell for sure. But my best guess, I feel like I do a better job with the Latch Hook than I do with the Loc Loop, making sure that I go through the middle of the lock with each rotation. Okay, so in total I probably have 300 or so locks in my head. Some of them I have definitely combined, but the last time I counted it was around 300. If it's not over 300, it's like just below it. So I've been doing this for I think it's coming up on 8 years this September, and as I mentioned in the previous video, I feel like it's finally time for me to just have someone else do it. I don't think I've done a bad job. As you can see, like, mine weren't set up with a grid. These are definitely not sister locks, they're just micros, but I think I've done a pretty good job over the years keeping my parts clean and continuing to maintain my locks. So if you made it this far, I hope this helps you decide if you want to do your locks, your interlock on your own. and also helps you decide which tool, if you're deciding between any of these two tools, you'd like to use on your locks. Also, I want to thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and turn on the notification bell so you know when I post another video. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah.